Continuing with more code samples, let's understand the very heart of how the Burp API interaction can work by looking at event listeners. This time we're looking at the event listeners from a Python perspective. We're going to download this extender from the same location that we did when we looked at it from a Java perspective. Now here the event listeners are going to include an HTTP listener, a proxy listener, a scanner listener, and an extension state listener. Now each of these listeners will have their own separate methods where they are implemented, and we'll take a look at that in depth inside of the demo. So let's go ahead and start this demo by looking at our extender implementation details, and this would be for the event listeners. We're going to install this extension into Burp and then see a live demo of it. In this demo, we're going to take a look at the example event listeners plugin. Now in this plugin, we can take a look at our import statement, and we can see that we've got quite a number of interfaces that we would be implementing this time. You can see all of those imports here. Then we have the class declaration of our Burp extender. Of course, we want to implement all of these different interfaces, the iBurp extender, the iHTTP listener, the iProxy listener, the iScanner listener, and the iExtension state listener. Let's take a look at what each of these do inside of our register extender callbacks function. So of course we've got the reference to our class and callbacks. We're going to set the extension name of event listeners. We have a print writer already declared for us for some debug statements, and of course you could add some more to this if you like. Then we're going to go ahead and register our HTTP listener, proxy listener, scanner listener, and then that extension state listener, which you'll see get called whenever we unload this particular extension. Now, looking more closely at the processing of the HTTP messages, we are going to see in the standard out an HTTP request to and an HTTP request from. So we'll look at those as we run this against a target application. Any traffic running through the proxy is going to display a similar type of message. If we run either the passive or active scanner, we're going to get a new scan issue displayed. And then when we unload the extension, we should receive this message, extension was unloaded. So let's go ahead and add this extension to Burp and see it run. So inside of Burp, we're going to add a new extension. It's Python. Okay, so right now we don't have any kind of debug message, but let's go ahead and run this against a target site. So let's go ahead and use our demo.testfire.net. Make sure that you've set that up in your sitemap and have set the scope to that URL. Go ahead and go to the login page, and when you refresh that page, we should see some output under our extender tab. So here we can see that traffic flowing through proxy is now being identified, as well as what the HTTP request and HTTP response is. Alright, let's try scanner. So in order for us to make a new scan issue appear, let's go ahead and log into the application. So at the login page, you'll want to type admin admin. And if we return to the extender tab, you're going to see a new scan issue appear. Now, the very last output that we should get is when we have a state change in the extension itself. So let's go ahead and unload this extension. And here you can see that last output.